Good day, class. I'm Mark. And this is Gonzo. And today we're talking about gold. What is it good for in Dungeons & Dragons? Gonzo.
Yes, sir.
You know what it's like, the problem we have in
do know.
5th edition D&D. What is the problem with gold? I like gold. What's wrong with gold?
I love gold.
Gold, there's nothing wrong with gold. In fact, part of the reason we play is to get treasure at the end of the adventure, you know? And first thing our rogue does, as soon as the battle's over, in fact, not our rogue, everyone at the table is like, I searched the body, I searched the body.
Yeah.
It's like a race to see what they got.
They're barely even down and they're searching the body.
So it's a big part of being a dungeon master is the treasure that you provide, you know, for the players, and that's a big part of when we play is hey, we're able to upgrade, we're able to get some stuff. Right. Gold is a big part of that, but in 5th edition, we seem to have lost some of the uses. We're getting a lot of comments and questions given to us about, hey, could you help us in ways that we could spend gold?
Yeah, and I think part of the problem is it uses. The idea normally is all right, we'll just have a day, a night where we just do shopping. We'll do a night where they just go into town and they shop. And, you know, there's just like real life shopping, it's kind of like lackluster because the one person who's buying is they're like, excited. Yeah, they're excited. Yeah. Like, oh, look at this. They find this store and they got all these cool things they want. Oh! And everyone else is bored. And it just uses game time. Who wants to spend a night, like a whole evening, just doing shopping? It's really boring. So there's an easier way to do that. We probably should mention that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best ways would be to do that in between your game session. So if you're one of the ones that and you've gotten some gold and you're ready to do something with it, talk to your dungeon master, especially if you're after to buying certain things. You know, if you're playing a game where you do keep track of a lot of your inventory, your rope, your arrows, maybe you want a better bow, whatever it may be. Right. Then you want to go to your dungeon master in between time. You can do it through text, you can do it through email, you can just meet with them after the game, but doing it during the game can seem to bore some of the people that aren't as excited about doing that, or they've already gotten what they wanted. Yeah,
in real life, what would happen is maybe some people go to different stores and all shop at the same time, but that's kind of like parameters, you're taking one at a time, telling what's going on, so to slow things down. So that's a good idea. So let's say they do want to work it out with their DM. What are some things that they could spend, let's say in the short term, where can they spend their money? Yeah,
so in real life, it's the necessities, and immediately it's, you know, what you eat, what you're wearing, where you're staying, those kind of things. So it's the same thing in D&D, entertainment. And so, you know, what you're eating, what you're wearing, your armor, those kind of things. That's where they can spend their gold. And some dungeon masters will do a good job of keeping track of, hey, this meal is going to cost you this much. This staying the night is going to cost you guys this much. If you want to stay in a really nice room, it's going to be more. And those tables and charts are in there in the Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide if you want to. But other dungeon masters don't want to really keep track.
Right, and so another place they could do is, you know, the fighters and then the martial classes could repair their armor, repair their weapons. That makes sense. Another place they could spend their money is quest goals. You know, so maybe the thing that they had to do, maybe they had to pay some money to somebody. And one thing I think in our group is kind of underutilized is bribing people versus beating stuff out of them, beat them into submission, getting info out of them. You could use bribes to get your way, and also maybe someone's backstory. They have something where they wanted to pay to get someone free, or something. But quest goals is something that's possible in the short run that they can spend their money on. Right?
Yeah, quest goals. If they want to, you know, if they do want to upgrade their armor and whatever, those kind of things, they can go to the blacksmith and pay to have plate mail made and, you know, design it the way they want and all those things. But what we want to do is give us opportunities to use this gold in a way that will help the story.
Sure.
And sometimes just plain shopping and upgrading is, although we do it in video games all the time, it's not as fun in a game time atmosphere. So we talked about some short-term uses of money. Mid-term, maybe something. What are some ideas there?
Yeah, so mid-term, so maybe a little longer. Maybe they save some more money. They got more money they can spend to buy mounts. You know, save some time, that travel time between the big cities or wherever they're going. If everyone had mounts, that would go a lot faster. So mounts could be a thing. Maybe
so horses, war pigs, whatever you want to ride.
Yeah, absolutely. It's big old spider. You know, oh, that'd be sweet. If you're a drow, like ride a spider. Yeah. I like this idea. A status, some things that you need to do to keep your status. So, like if you're a cleric, maybe you're making donations to the local church to make to stay in good with your god, that stay in favor with them. Right. Maybe paying a guild. You're part of a guild.
Yeah,
you're paying a guild dude. Yeah. So those are good ways to keep status. Okay. Maybe you're saving up to craft a special weapon. You know, like I want to make this certain axe that I really want. That
it's Grandpa's axe. It's Grandpa's axe. I've used it ever since. I love it. But I want it to shoot lightning when I use it. You know, whatever it may be. Then that would be a good way for the dungeon master and the player to come up with a goal. Yes. Well, you need to save this much to be able to craft that magic item and have it imbued with the magic you want. And then the player has a goal in mind when they're saving up their money and not just
or get it silvered. Pro tip: always get your weapons silvered. You're probably gonna need that later on.
Yeah, you never know when werewolves.
So long term. So they've saved up and all this. What's a long term? Even more time. They've saved up more money, or they go into the dungeons and get a lot more money. What can they?
Yeah. Well, then you start hiring help. You can have help come with you. Those kind of things. You can have. You know, but generally, like most of us, we want a place to stay, a home base, something to call home, whether it's as a group or individualized. Right. And a lot of times what we would like to see is where the backgrounds help decide what the long-term goal would be. The background or maybe the class, what they do for a living.
Sure, absolutely.
So we actually talked about maybe being a little bit class-specific, and a dungeon master working with your players or the player working with your DM is probably more like it, and saying, hey, I'm a bard. Yeah. And I would love to eventually have enough money to build an amphitheater where I can perform as a rock star, you know, the rock star that I am.
Of course, yeah. So, all bards are rock stars.
Exactly. So, or whatever, you know, a theater or something. Or I would just want my own tavern. It's going to be 3 stories. You can have this long-term goal in mind, and it would be really neat for the DM to keep that in mind as well. Like, well, you found some more gold, and you can hire these carpenters to get started on it, you know, but you're gonna have to keep it up. So that gives the adventurer another opportunity to keep questing or keep doing more things.
Yeah, or if you're a cleric, maybe you're building a temple to the god that you worship. You know, really building favor with that god. Or maybe you want to build a halfway house to help people. Or maybe you were an urchin at one point and you want to give back and you're going to build an orphanage.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that'd be a good way.
That's using their background. If they pick like the urchin background or something where they grew up on the streets, they don't want anyone else to have to suffer that. So what a noble cause that would be for a cleric.
Makes sense.
Paladin. Yeah. That's good.
What about a druid?
A druid. I like that one because, you know, I'm particular to going to national parks. Yeah. I love going to those things. I love hiking and fishing. And down here in Florida, we have conservatories over actual reefs and things. And I love that idea of a druid saying, I want to buy a whole tract of land. Not just a little druid's grove, but I want a whole tract of land to be, you know, hunt free. I'm going to set up protectors and I'll buy it from the king. I know it's going to cost a lot of money, and then I'll, you know, set this up as a conservatory or an environmental area where people can enjoy it, but not tear it up, take all the trees down, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or a seafaring druid protecting a reef or something.
Yeah, that's good. I could see a wizard building a tower, you know, they like to be away for a bit to be able to study and kind of in seclusion, kind of study their books and grow wiser as they do, and have a place to put all their books, their spell books, protect them, put them up high where people can't get into. Kind of like I remember Raistlin having his tower and all the things he had to protect it and stuff.
Well, library for all your stuff, and you don't want your kids to get into it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, all right. So this we've got some pretty good ideas, I think, how to use gold.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is that as a dungeon master and as a player, when you accumulate wealth, if you have a goal for it, a place to put it that fits with your background and in the things that your character roles or runs with, then you're gonna basically facilitate your character's role playing as you move on, and it's actually gonna add to the game. Yeah, it's gonna give you more options. Crafting a magic weapon is pretty sweet too. You know, maybe the barbarian really wants that double-bladed, two-handed sword with magic shooting out of every level, and you're, as a dungeon master, like, okay, you know, this can happen, but it's going to cost a lot.
Sure.
And he's got a reason to save gold. So have fun with it. Use it often. we're glad that you're here at Dungeon Class, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, we would appreciate it if you hit that button, hit the like button, but probably more important, Mark, is if you want to go ahead and put a comment in the comment section and talk about your uses of gold, the way that you use gold in your game, or maybe some ideas you may have. We're going to actually look through these and pin one to the top of the comments. We love the engagement with our audience.
All right, I really like this idea, these ideas on how to spend gold. And with that, class dismissed.